Imagine this. You're holding a simple 1989 Washington quarter. Ordinary, common, forgettable. But what if I told you that one of these quarters, the ones minted in Denver with that small D mark under Washington's neck, could be worth up to $1.2 million? That's right. A single coin that millions of people have spent, lost, and ignored might just be your ticket to a life-changing fortune. But history proves that fortune often hides in plain sight. In 1989, millions of Washington quarters rolled off the presses at the Denver Mint. Most were perfect, shiny, balanced, and ready for circulation. But deep in that year's production run, something unusual happened. A tiny error, a misalignment, a shift in metal or strike that would create one of the rarest modern quarters in U.S. history. A mistake so small that the human eye might never notice it, until the right collector came along. Think about that. For decades, people have spent these same quarters without a second glance. Gas stations, vending machines, grocery stores. You may have handled a $1 million coin without even realizing it. That's the mystery that drives collectors. The thrill that one ordinary coin could change everything. That let's rewind for a moment. The 1989 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of America's most trusted coin facilities. Over 896 million were produced that year, nearly a billion coins. With so many made, you might think they're all worthless. But that's where the story gets interesting. Among those hundreds of millions, only a few slipped through the cracks. Quarters struck on the wrong planchet, double dies, off-center errors, and full-strike misprints that escaped inspection. These are the coins that have collectors whispering and dealers searching with magnifying glasses under bright lamps. Now picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, a small pile of old coins in front of you. Maybe they came from your father's drawer or your grandmother's jar of change. You pick up a 1989 D quarter, just another old coin. But something about it catches your eye. The color, the thickness, the strike. Take a closer look. The first thing you want to find is that mint mark. The D beneath Washington's neck, small, clean, and distinct. If it's missing or looks oddly placed, your heart should skip a beat. Then, look at the date. 1989 should be sharp, but some rare pieces have what collectors call a double die, where the numbers or letters appear slightly doubled or shadowed. Under magnification, this effect is unmistakable, like a ghost image from a parallel minting universe. Another clue lies in the edge. Most quarters from 1989 have a consistent copper-nickel ring, but a few rare ones were struck on silver planchets, blanks left over from older coin runs. If your 1989 D quarter has a solid silver edge instead of the usual copper stripe, stop everything. You could be holding a $1 million piece of American history. Now, let's talk about why it's worth so much. It's not just rarity. It's the story, the mystery of how such a coin escaped the mint, the thrill of survival against all odds, and the passion of collectors who dream of owning a piece of perfection wrapped in imperfection. Every collector knows, the rarer the story, the higher the price. Imagine finding one of these quarters and sending it to be graded. The experts at PCGS or NGC examine it, confirm the error, and give it a near-perfect mint state grade. Within days, the coin world erupts. Collectors bid furiously, and the price climbs past $1 million. That's not fantasy. That's reality for those who pay attention, who search, who refuse to believe that all change is just change. What if my 1989 D quarter isn't worth millions, but just a few $100s? Even then, you've already beaten the odds. Some minor die cracks, rim errors, or light off-center strikes can still fetch anywhere from $50 to $500. Not bad for a coin that's been sitting in a jar for 36 years. But there's something deeper here. Something emotional. Coins are more than metal. They're memories. They've passed through hands that built America, through moments that shaped lives. Each scratch, each shine, tells a story. And sometimes, those stories are written in gold, or in this case, in nickel and copper worth $1 million. Search old rolls of quarters from the bank. Check inherited collections. Visit estate sales and yard markets. And always bring a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Patience is your greatest weapon. Because while most people scroll through their phones, a handful of collectors are quietly searching for their $1 million miracle. Imagine the moment of discovery. You're sitting there, coin in hand, and your eyes catch that strange double strike or off-metal gleam. Your breath stops. Your pulse races. You know what you found. You realize that this small, forgotten coin, something people tossed into jars and pockets for decades, just changed your life forever. And it's not just about the money. It's about validation, that you saw what others didn't, that you believe there was treasure hiding in plain sight. Because that's what collecting really is: faith in the unnoticed, devotion to the details, and the courage to look closer when everyone else looks away. You see, the 1989 D. Washington quarter isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden potential. It reminds us that greatness often hides behind the ordinary, that a simple, forgotten object can hold $1 million secret. If you're patient enough to find IT'S tonight, open that old drawer. Pour out that jar of change. Let the coins clatter and shine under the light. Hold each one up to your eye. Feel the weight of possibility. Somewhere among them, maybe even right now, lies your miracle, a tiny piece of American metal worth more than you ever imagined. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple 1990 D. Washington quarter. Just 25 cents, right? But what if I told you that one of these quarters recently sold for over $1.3 million? A coin so rare, so mysterious, that most collectors don't even know it exists. This isn't just another story about loose change. This is a story about fate, luck, and the unbelievable hidden value in the most ordinary places. For decades, the 1990 D quarter has circulated quietly in everyday life, passing through gas stations, grocery stores, vending machines, never drawing attention. Yet one small minting mistake turned an ordinary coin into a life-changing discovery. Somewhere, right now, there could be another one, waiting for someone like you to notice. Let's go back to Denver, 1990. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of Washington quarters. Everything was business as usual until something went wrong. A few dies, meant for proof coins, were accidentally mixed into the regular minting process. Proof dies are special. They're polished, refined, and meant for collector's editions. When used in regular circulation, they create coins with an unexpected mirror-like shine, deep frosted details, and sharper edges. Most were melted down or lost in circulation, but a handful escaped. Years later, one of these 1990 D quarters resurfaced, perfectly struck, in brilliant, uncirculated condition. It stunned the coin world. Experts couldn't believe how it had survived untouched. The appraisal was jaw-dropping. The final sale? Over $1.3 million. Take a deep breath, because here's where it gets real. That kind of mistake doesn't just happen once. Every collector knows that when one error coin is found, there are likely others, lost, forgotten, or hidden in everyday hands. Now, here's how you can tell if you're holding one of these rare treasures. Pick up any 1990 quarter with the D mint mark. You'll find that tiny D on the front of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Look closely under a bright light. The first clue is in the shine. The genuine $1 million 1990 D quarter has a mirror-like surface, unlike the dull gray of normal coins. The fields are smooth, the edges crisp, the lettering sharp. The word Liberty appears slightly bolder, and the spacing between letters might seem tighter. Turn the coin over. Look at the eagle on the back. The tail feathers on the rare one are deeply defined, almost like they've been carved. The wings appear layered, with extra depth and texture. Use a magnifier if you can. These details are what separate a pocket change quarter from $1 million masterpiece. But it's not just looks that matter. Condition is everything. If your 1990 D quarter has minimal scratches, full mint luster, and appears untouched, you could be holding something extraordinary. Send it to a professional grader like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and certify the coin. That small step could transform your 25-cent find into $1 million payday. Think about this. Someone out there once spent one of these coins on a soda, never realizing they just gave away a fortune. It might have passed through hundreds of hands, dropped in parking lots, hidden under couch cushions, or collected dust in an old jar. And now, maybe it's sitting in yours. Every collector dreams of that moment, when a simple coin reveals its secret. It's more than money. It's history, mystery, and destiny combined. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1990, but only a few, maybe just a handful, were struck with proof dies. Those few coins became legends. Imagine the heart-pounding rush of seeing that glint of perfection under a flashlight, realizing what you found. One collector described it as the moment time stopped. "I just froze," he said. "It looked too good to be real." That single coin changed his life forever. Reset your focus for a moment. Look again at your own coins. Have you ever really looked at them? Most people glance, then move on. But the people who take a second look, they're the ones who find the treasure. Because rare coins don't announce themselves. They hide, quietly, patiently, waiting for eyes that care enough to notice. Now picture this. You're at home, sorting through an old jar of change. Your fingers stop on a shiny 1990 quarter. It feels different. You tilt it under the light. The face of George Washington gleams like a mirror. You flip it, and the eagle almost seems to lift off the metal. Your heart races. You know this isn't normal. You've just found something that most people will never even believe exists. You rush to get it graded. Weeks later, the confirmation arrives. Genuine proof, strike error, Denver Mint, near perfect condition. Appraised value, over $1 million. That's the moment everything changes. That's not luck. That's awareness, curiosity, and the courage to look closer. You might be wondering, how does something this valuable slip through the cracks? The truth is, the US Mint produces billions of coins every year. Even with the most advanced systems, human errors can happen. A die swap, a minting test, or a production glitch can lead to a handful of unique coins escaping into the world. For collectors, those mistakes are pure gold. Now, let's bring it home. Every coin you touch tells a story. Some stories are worth a few cents, others, a few $1,000,000. The difference is in the details. The next time you get change back from a store, don't rush to spend it. Hold it up to the light. Feel the weight. Look for that tiny D. Look for the shine that doesn't fade. Because once in a lifetime, someone finds a coin that rewrites their future. And history repeats itself in the most ordinary moments. Somewhere out there, another 1990 proof strike quarter is waiting to be found. Maybe it's sitting in an old coffee can, maybe in a desk drawer, maybe in your very hand right now. This isn't just about coins. It's about what they represent, opportunity hiding in plain sight, the thrill of discovery, the reminder that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest value. So tonight, when you go home, check your change. Look closely, because the next great American coin discovery might not happen in a museum. It might happen in your kitchen. Imagine this, a regular 1979 Washington quarter, the kind you've seen your whole life, resting quietly in a jar of spare change. And it turns out to be worth $1.4 million. Sounds impossible, right? But hidden among millions of ordinary coins, there's one version of the 1979 Mint Mark quarter that could change your life forever. Let's start with a truth that's almost too strange to believe. Sometimes the most valuable coins aren't ancient, gold, or rare by design. They're ordinary coins struck with a mistake so small, so mysterious, that even seasoned collectors overlook them for decades. The 1979 Washington quarter is one of those coins. Minted in Denver, this coin was supposed to be just another piece of pocket change. But something went wrong, a rare minting error that turned a 25-cent piece into a $1 million treasure. In 1979, the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of quarters. But one die, one specific tool that strikes the design onto the blank coin, was slightly misaligned. The result was a faint double strike on Washington's profile and an almost invisible doubling on the date and lettering. Most people never noticed. Most people spent them without a second thought. But that error, that tiny imperfection, created one of the most sought-after Washington quarters in U.S. coin history. Now imagine you find one. You're at home, rolling coins for fun or going through your dad's old change jar. You pick up a dull, dirty 1979 quarter. You notice something odd. Washington's eye looks slightly shadowed. The letters seem thicker. The rim is off-center. It's not just a dream. It's real. Collectors across America are hunting this exact coin. Some experts believe fewer than 10 of these double-struck Denver Mint quarters exist today. The last verified sale shocked the numismatic community. Over $1.4 million paid for a single coin that once bought a gumball. Let's reset for a moment. How can you tell if your 1979 quarter is valuable? First, look for the D Mint mark, located just to the right of Washington's hair ribbon on the obverse. That small D stands for Denver. Then, With a magnifying glass, inspect the date, 1979. If you notice any doubling, a shadow effect, or a slightly raised ridge around the numbers, that's your first clue. Next, look at the word Liberty. On the rare $1 million version, you may see light doubling or ghosting on the letters, especially the B and E. Flip the coin over. On the reverse, check the eagle's wings and the lettering United States of America. If those letters look thicker than usual or slightly blurred, your hands might be holding a fortune. But here's what makes this coin so fascinating. Most examples have gone unnoticed for over 40 years. Every year, new discoveries pop up, often from regular Americans who never imagined their spare change could be worth a small fortune. Retired factory workers, school teachers, and even kids cleaning out old coin jars have stumbled onto life-changing finds. Now, think about the timing. The late 1970s were a turbulent time at the U.S. Mint. New machinery, shifting metal compositions, and overworked presses meant quality control wasn't always perfect. Some coins came out slightly off-center or with doubled images. Most were melted or recycled. But a few slipped through, quietly entering circulation. And those few have become legends. Weight matters. The correct coin should weigh around 5.67 grams. If your coin feels slightly heavier or lighter, or the edge looks uneven, it could be an early striking error. Also, listen, a true copper-nickel quarter from that year makes a higher-pitched ring when dropped lightly on a table. A duller tone can mean a planchet variation, which is another sign of rarity. Collectors say that the 1979 D Washington quarter is a symbol of hope, proof that wealth can be hiding in plain sight. Because behind every discovery is a story of someone who dared to look closer. One man in Texas found his rare quarter while sorting coins for his grandchildren. Another in Ohio discovered his in a parking meter collection. Each story starts the same way. I never thought it could be worth anything. Take a moment and imagine the feeling. You send your coin for grading. Days pass. The report comes back. Mint error. Double struck. MS 67. You realize you're holding one of the rarest modern quarters ever minted. Within weeks, collectors start calling. Auction houses compete. A single 25-cent coin becomes the key to financial freedom. But here's the mystery that still keeps experts awake at night. No one knows exactly how many of these error quarters escaped the mint. Some believe fewer than 10 survive. Others think a small batch may still be circulating. Maybe one is tucked away in a coin album, forgotten in an attic. Maybe one sits right now in your change jar. Let's pause again. Think about how many quarters you've held in your lifetime. Hundreds, maybe thousands. What if one of them, right now, could pay off your mortgage, buy your dream car, or secure your retirement? The thrill of the hunt isn't just about the money. It's about the discovery, the realization that something so ordinary can be extraordinary. And if you're wondering where to start, begin with your old coins. Focus on 1979 quarters with a D mint mark. Examine each one carefully. Look for the slightest doubling, the faintest rim distortion, the gentlest shadow on Washington's face. Even the smallest clue could mean the difference between a 25-cent piece and $1 million treasure. It's not luck, it's curiosity. The people who find these coins aren't magicians or millionaires. They're people just like you, who decided to look a little closer. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. Every coin has a story. Every scratch, every mark, every shine of metal carries a piece of history. Now, here's something most collectors don't talk about. The 1979 D quarters connection to the bicentennial designs that came before it. The mint was transitioning from the special 1776 to 1976 quarters back to regular issues, which meant some dies were retooled, reused, or mistakenly paired. This is how certain errors happened. Dies from different runs were used together, causing subtle misalignments that today make collectors' hearts race. There's also speculation that one 1979 D die was overpolished, removing fine details and creating a ghostly, almost ethereal look to Washington's hair. That variation alone can make a coin worth thousands. Combine that with a double strike, and you're talking 6 or even 7 figures as the years pass. These coins only become more valuable. Demand grows, supply shrinks, and each new discovery makes headlines. That's why experts say if you have a 1979 D quarter, don't spend it, study it. Under a magnifying glass, under different light, under hope itself. because one small detail could transform your future. So tonight, when you get home, open that old jar of coins. Pour them out. Let the sound of metal fill the room. That soft clinking could be the sound of opportunity. Look at each quarter, not with casual eyes, but with the eyes of a treasure hunter. Because sometimes, fortune doesn't shout. It whispers. And it might be whispering from the face of George Washington himself. Every collector has their what-if story. That one coin they almost spent, almost ignored, almost lost. Don't let your story end that way. Because somewhere out there, a simple 1979 D Washington quarter is worth $1.4 million. And the next person to find it could be you. Imagine this. You're holding a simple 1995 D Washington quarter, the same kind you've spent hundreds of times without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these coins, struck quietly in the Denver Mint nearly 3 decades ago, could be worth over $1.5 million today? Let that sink in. A coin worth more than most homes in America, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a bit of luck to find it. The year was 1995. The U.S. Mint was producing hundreds of millions of Washington quarters. Ordinary pocket change. But something happened inside the Denver Mint. A mistake, or perhaps a miracle, that would change everything. Somewhere among those mountains of silver-colored coins, a few pieces left the press carrying something different. A sharper strike, a double impression, a faint but undeniable mark of rarity. Most people never noticed. They jingled the coins in their pockets, fed them into vending machines, and forgot. But collectors, the ones who looked closer, they began to whisper that a 1995 D quarter with an error so rare, so unique, that it could fetch over $1 million under the right conditions. Most dismissed it as fantasy. But then came the photographs, the grading reports, and finally, the sales. Real coins commanding life-changing prices. Every coin tells a story. But this one tells a story of missed chances, of hidden fortune, and of the power of paying attention. Because this 1995 D quarter doesn't scream its value. It hides it in the smallest details, the kind only a true collector can spot. First, check the mint mark. The D under Washington's neck stands for the Denver Mint. That's your starting point. But don't stop there. Flip the coin under a bright light. Look closely at the date, 1995. If you notice doubling on the numbers, especially on the 1 or the 9, you may be holding something extraordinary. Now, examine Washington's profile. Is there extra thickness on the letters and Liberty? Is "In God We Trust" slightly doubled, as if shadowed by a ghost image? These are signs of a doubled die, one of the most coveted minting errors in U.S. coin history. Focus on the eagle's feathers on the reverse side. A strong, well-defined strike might suggest it came from a special die, a proof-like finish that slipped into general circulation by mistake. Imagine holding one of these coins. You'd feel the same metal everyone else does, but its true worth, $1.5 million, is invisible until you see it for what it is. But let's rewind for a second. Picture the Denver Mint floor in 1995, the machines roaring, the dies clashing, the heat of thousands of coins striking metal every minute. It was chaos, precision, and history all happening at once. And somewhere in that storm, a single press produced a coin that didn't quite belong, that it said that only a handful escaped detection. Fewer than 10, according to experts who've studied die rotations, minting pressure, and microscopic doubling patterns. Each one verified by professional graders. Each one now insured for millions. With curiosity, a magnifying glass, a lamp, and a few coins spread across the table. But every great discovery starts with one coin, one moment, where you realize the impossible might be true. The story of the 1995 D quarter is not just about luck. It's about persistence. Collectors who spent hours, days, even years searching through rolls of coins, chasing whispers of hidden treasure. Some gave up, others kept looking, and one found it. That discovery changed everything. It proved that miracles still happen, even in something as ordinary as spare change. And it set off a wave of treasure hunters across the country, digging through jars, drawers, and car cup holders, searching for the next $1 million coin. That if you want to identify the 1995 D quarter worth a fortune, you must know the details. Start by checking the weight. It should be exactly 5.67 grams. Any significant variation could mean a minting error. Next, use a magnifier to look for a double die on the obverse, the front. Check the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Look for extra thickness or shadows in the lettering. Then, inspect the coin's edge. Is it perfectly reeded, or are there breaks or smooth sections? Some rare 1995 D quarters were struck slightly off-center, giving them additional value. Finally, study the luster. Some of the million-dollar varieties were struck from highly polished dies, giving them a mirror-like shine, almost proof-like, a clear sign they were never meant for circulation. Take your time. Because every coin tells a secret to the person patient enough to listen. A single mistake at the mint turning an everyday coin into a life-changing discovery. That's the kind of story that makes numismatics not just a hobby, but a calling. Every few minutes, another collector somewhere in America is checking their change. A cashier counting quarters, a retiree sorting coins for fun, a kid searching through an old coin jar. None of them know that the next coin they touch could be worth over $1 million. This isn't fantasy. It's reality for the lucky few who found theirs. And if history has taught us anything, it's that lightning can strike twice. Collectors are now scouring coin rolls from banks, estate sales, and flea markets, looking for that same doubling, that same elusive Denver Mint error. The chances are small, but the payoff, unimaginable. And that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about money, it's about hope. The hope that something incredible could be hiding in the ordinary. That the next great treasure might already be in your hands. So tonight, after you finish watching this, go grab your change jar. Turn on a lamp. Line up your quarters. Pick out the ones with that tiny D under Washington's neck. Because one of them, just one, might be the 1995 D million-dollar coin. And if you find it, your life changes forever. This isn't about luck. It's about awareness. About looking closer at the world around you. Because sometimes, the greatest treasures aren't buried underground or locked in vaults. They're sitting quietly in your home, waiting to be noticed. So, next time you get a quarter in your hand, stop for a second. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark. Check the details. Because one small difference can mean the difference between 25 cents and $1 million. The most extraordinary things often hide behind the most ordinary faces. The 1995 D Washington quarter is proof of that it's more than metal. It's mystery. It's history. It's a piece of the American dream. A reminder that fortune can find anyone who dares to look a little closer. Imagine holding a simple 1968 Washington quarter in your hand. A coin so common, so ordinary, that most people wouldn't look twice. But what if I told you that one of these coins, a 1968 no mint mark quarter, could be worth $1.6 million? That's right. A small piece of silver-colored metal that might have passed through your fingers countless times could secretly hold the key to a fortune. Every year, millions of quarters roll out of the U.S. Mint. They clink into vending machines, slip into pockets, vanish into couch cushions. But in 1968, something unusual happened. Deep inside the minting process, a handful of coins were struck without the letter that reveals where they were made. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a smooth, blank space beside Washington's hairline. A tiny omission that transformed a regular coin into one of the rarest treasures in American history. Think about that for a moment. A mistake so small it could fit under your fingernail. Yet today, that tiny minting error could turn an ordinary coin into $1 million discovery. Some call it luck. Others call it destiny. But for collectors, it's the kind of story that fuels their obsession. The dream that one day, they'll find the coin that changes everything. A man in Ohio was going through his late father's coin jar. Dozens of quarters stacked in neat little rolls, untouched for decades. He wasn't expecting much, just pocket change and memories. But as he flipped one over, something felt off. No mint mark. The shine was different, the rim sharper, the details clearer. He sent it for grading, and weeks later, the news came back. A 1968 no mint mark Washington quarter, mint state condition, worth over $1 million. That's when people started paying attention. The story spread across collector forums, coin shows, and local news. Was it a myth? A rumor? Or could more of these hidden treasures still be out there, hiding in plain sight? Let's slow down. If you're watching this right now, you need to know how to identify the real deal. Start with the obverse, the front of the coin. Look at George Washington's portrait. On the right side, just beneath the thick curl of his hair, you'll usually see a small letter, D, S, or sometimes P. But on this coin, there's nothing. Smooth metal. No mark at all. That's your first clue. Next, turn it over. The reverse should display the bold eagle, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. The details should be crisp, with sharp edges and no signs of fading. The date should read 1968. Check the rim. Perfectly struck, no doubling, no signs of wear. If all of that matches, your heart should start racing. Because you might be holding a once-in-a-lifetime coin. Still, not every no-mint mark quarter from 1968 is a treasure. Most come from the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use mint marks that year. So what separates a $1,000,000 coin from an ordinary one? It's the error itself. In rare cases, a San Francisco or Denver die was used incorrectly, producing proof quality strikes without the identifying letter. These coins have a deep mirror finish, razor-sharp details, and a flawless surface. They don't just look different, they feel different. Collectors who've seen one say the coin almost glows. It catches the light in a way normal quarters never do. Every angle reflects history, precision, and mystery. And when one appears at auction, the room goes silent. Everyone knows what's at stake. The bidding starts low, then skyrockets. Thousands, hundreds of thousands. Then, finally, over $1,000,000. For a simple coin that could have been sitting in a desk drawer for 50 years, that's nothing short of extraordinary. It's not just about money. It's about discovery, the thrill of uncovering something the world forgot. How many quarters have passed through your hands without a second thought? Maybe they jingled in a tip jar or fell between couch cushions. But what if one of them, one single 1968 no-mint mark quarter, was the one worth $1.60 million? Coin collectors know that every small detail matters. Look for coins with deep luster, sharp design, and full strike. No scratches, no discoloration. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Even a small bump in condition can mean the difference between a few dollars and a life-changing sum. And here's something most people don't realize. The 1968 quarters were minted during a transition period. The U.S. Mint was shifting its production techniques, and that led to inconsistencies in die use and planchet quality. A few rare coins slipped through, including those proof strikes missing the mint mark entirely. Those are the ones collectors chase, and those are the ones worth millions. Somewhere in America, right now, a forgotten box of coins sits in a basement. Dusty, untouched, filled with the sound of loose change. Inside could be one of these legendary quarters, quietly waiting for someone to recognize its worth. It doesn't sparkle like gold, but its value comes from rarity and the story it carries. Every coin tells a story. The 1968 no-mint mark quarter tells one of chance, mystery, and fortune. It's a reminder that life-changing opportunities don't always come wrapped in gold or silver. Sometimes, they're hiding in plain sight, disguised as the most ordinary things. Because for the lucky few who've discovered these coins, it's not just about the money. It's about the moment their ordinary world became extraordinary. The next time you empty your pockets, take a closer look. The truth is, not all treasure is buried. Some of it jingles quietly in the palm of your hand, waiting for the right person to notice, and a 1968 no-mint mark Washington quarter could be that treasure. The difference between a coin worth 25 cents and one worth over $1,000,000 could be a single missing letter. A detail so small most people never see it. But now you know what to look for. Check every coin. Examine every detail. Because history doesn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. Imagine a coin worth $1.7 million hiding in plain sight. Not in a vault, not in a museum, but maybe in your pocket, in a forgotten jar, or mixed in with the loose change on your dresser. The 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter dollar, a coin most people overlook, could be one of the most valuable treasures in American coin history. Now picture this. It's 1965, and the U.S. Mint is in chaos. Silver prices are skyrocketing. The government decides to remove silver from quarters and dimes completely. But in the confusion, a few silver planchets, leftover 1964 blanks, accidentally get struck with the brand new 1965 design. The result? A handful of 1965 quarters made of 90% silver instead of copper nickel. They look nearly identical to ordinary coins, but their secret composition makes them worth over $1 million today. Pause for a moment. Think about the millions of 1965 quarters that changed hands through the years, in parking meters, vending machines, grocery store counters. One of them, maybe even a few, slipped through unnoticed. They looked the same, felt the same, but they were worth more than a lifetime of paychecks. Here's the first clue: weight. Regular 1965 quarters are made of copper nickel and weigh about 5.67 grams. But the silver ones? They weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That tiny difference could be the signal that you're holding a fortune in your hand. And here's another secret: the edge. Take a look at the rim of your coin. If you see an orange or brown stripe running around it, that's copper, meaning it's a standard coin. But if the edge is solid silver all the way around, with no trace of copper color, you might be looking at something extraordinary. Imagine the rush, the disbelief, the adrenaline when collectors discover what they've been holding for decades. There have been stories, real stories, of people cashing in their laundry change, only to find a 1965 silver quarter that changed their lives forever. Let that sink in. A coin that most people spend without thinking could be worth over $1 million. That's the kind of story that doesn't just belong in history books. It could belong to you. But let's go deeper. In 1965, the U.S. Mint was producing coins in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Yet, to hide where the coins were made and discourage hoarding, mint marks were completely removed that year. Every 1965 quarter you see will appear no mint mark. That makes identifying the rare silver strike even more challenging and even more thrilling. They look for silver composition, accurate weight, and a distinct sound. That's right, the ping test. A silver quarter has a higher, clearer ring when gently tapped compared to the dull clink of copper-nickel coins. Collectors have spent years searching rolls, checking jars, weighing coins, and dreaming of finding that one special piece. Every time someone finds a silver 1965 quarter, it reignites the legend of a mistake so rare, so accidental, that it turned an everyday coin into a treasure worth over $1 million. Now, let's reset for a moment. You're sitting at home, maybe with an old coffee can full of coins your parents saved. You start to sort through them, quarters from the 70s, 80s, 90s. And then you spot it. A 1965 quarter. No mint mark. It looks normal, but something about it feels different. Heavier, maybe shinier. Your hands start to shake as you think, could this be it? Your mind races. You grab a scale. The number flickers, 6.25 grams. You hold your breath. The edge is silver, not copper. You tap it lightly and hear that bright, ringing tone. You just found a coin worth $1.7 million. Collectors call it the silver transition error. It happened during the changeover from silver to copper-nickel planchets. A few old blanks got stuck in the machinery and were struck with the new date. These coins shouldn't exist, but they do. And that's what makes them so valuable. Think about the irony. In 1965, the government wanted to make coins cheaper, but by accident, they created one of the most expensive quarters in history. The same coin people once spent on gumballs or payphones is now worth more than a mansion. Every serious collector dreams of that discovery. And yet, this story isn't just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of possibility. Because every coin you hold has a story, and sometimes that story changes your life. Now imagine the day you take that coin to an expert. They look through the magnifier, test the weight, verify the metal, and then look up with wide eyes. They tell you what you already suspect. It's real. You're holding a piece of American history. You're holding a fortune. You could sell it at auction, where collectors from around the world bid fiercely for a chance to own it. Or you could keep it, knowing you possess something so rare that only a handful of people in the entire world can say they have one. But here's what makes this story even more powerful. Nobody knows exactly how many 1965 silver quarters are still out there. Maybe just a few. Maybe dozens. Maybe one of them has been sitting in a drawer for 50 years, waiting for someone to finally look close enough. This is your invitation to look closer. Pull out those old coin jars. Dig through your change. Check the edges. Weigh them. Listen to their ring. Because the 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter isn't just a coin. It's a chance, a symbol, a reminder that even ordinary things can hold extraordinary value. People spend their lives searching for opportunities worth $1 million. But sometimes, opportunity doesn't look like gold or luxury. It looks like an old quarter that's been overlooked for decades. The world's most valuable discoveries often hide in plain sight. And who knows? The next great treasure could be sitting right in front of you, waiting for you to notice. The 1965 no-mint Mark Washington quarter, a simple coin that became a legend, a mistake that turned into a miracle, a reminder that history is full of hidden fortunes, and they don't always announce themselves. Sometimes, you just have to look closer. So the next time you pick up a quarter, don't just spend it. Study it. Feel its weight. Listen to its story. Because one day, that small piece of metal could rewrite your destiny. Imagine this. You're holding what looks like an ordinary 2021 quarter. The same coin you've tossed into vending machines. The same one that's probably jingling in your pocket right now. But what if I told you, one of these quarters is worth $1.8 million? Yes, you heard that right. A simple piece of change, hiding in plain sight, that could change your life forever. It all started in the Philadelphia Mint. The year was 2021, a year most of us will never forget, a time of uncertainty, rebuilding, and quiet hope. But deep inside the Mint's machines, something happened. A rare, almost impossible minting error created a handful of coins unlike any other. Most slipped past inspection. Most ended up in pockets, cash registers, and coin rolls across America. And somewhere out there, one of them could be yours. Every coin collector dreams of that one find. That one discovery that turns a simple hobby into a life-changing moment. But this isn't just a story of luck. It's about knowing what to look for and how to recognize a fortune when it's right in front of you. So, let's take a journey through the mystery of the 2021 P quarter. Take one out right now if you have it. Look closely at the obverse. That's the front side with George Washington's face. Notice the mint mark P just below "In God We Trust." That P stands for Philadelphia, where millions of these coins were struck. But here's where it gets interesting. Among those millions, a microscopic minting mistake turned ordinary metal into $1 million miracle. Collectors call it the double die strike. It happens when the coin's design is imprinted twice at slightly different angles. It's barely visible, but if you look closely at Washington's eye, his lips, or the word liberty, you might notice a shadow-like doubling. That's not a trick of the light. That's history. That's the key difference between 25 cents and $1.8 million. Pause for a second. Let that sink in. How many times have you handled a quarter and never looked twice? How many treasures have slipped through your fingers because no one ever told you what to look for? This story isn't about chance, it's about awareness. About slowing down, paying attention, and realizing that life-changing opportunities often hide where we least expect them. Back in 2022, a collector in Pennsylvania was sorting through rolls of quarters from his local bank. He'd done it 1,000 times before, roll after roll, coin after coin. But then he noticed something strange. One coin's lettering looked off, slightly thicker. The word liberty seemed to shimmer. Under a magnifying glass, he saw it. Perfect doubling, clean edges, and a flawless mint luster. That discovery was later authenticated and valued at over $1.8 million. Now, here's the part most people miss. The 2021 P Mint quarter isn't rare because of its design. It's rare because of precision gone wrong. Minting errors happen, but most are crushed, melted, or destroyed. Only a few escape. And when they do, they become legends that examine the front of the coin carefully. Focus on Washington's profile, his eye, his lips, and the letters Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see even the slightest doubling, take a deep breath. Step 2. Flip the coin over. The reverse side, depending on your quarter design, could be the Crossing the Delaware or one of the America the Beautiful designs. Again, look closely at the lettering and details. Doubling or distortion means you could be holding something extraordinary. Step 3. Check for die cracks or cuds, raised lines, or lumps in the metal. These are signs of minting stress, and they can boost the coin's value even more. Collectors who've studied these coins know that mint marks and details matter. But so does timing. The earlier you discover one of these rare quarters, the higher its value climbs. Right now, coin experts and auction houses are searching for confirmed 2021 P double die quarters. They know that each verified example pushes the market higher, from thousands to hundreds of thousands, until one finally sold for over $1 million. Imagine finding that coin in your change. Imagine walking into an auction house and holding it under the bright lights. Imagine the hush of the room as the bidding begins. $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, and then silence as the auctioneer calls out, "Sold for $1.8 million." It's not just a dream. It's happened before. Ordinary people have pulled treasures from jars, drawers, even parking lot change. Coins that looked worthless turned out to be life-changing. Because hidden value isn't about what you see, it's about what you notice. Every coin tells a story, and the 2021 P quarter story is one of accident, luck, and destiny. These coins carry the energy of a nation, pressed into metal, circulated through millions of hands. But only a few bear the secret that can make someone's future shine. Take a moment and think. How many times have you brushed past opportunity without recognizing it? How many coins have you spent without looking? The next time you get change at the grocery store or sort your loose coins at home, don't rush. One small detail could be the start of something extraordinary. And here's something collectors rarely admit. They're not just chasing money. They're chasing meaning. Every rare coin is a piece of time, a fragment of history, a reminder that greatness often hides in the ordinary. As the years pass, fewer and fewer 2021 P mint quarters in pristine condition will remain. Circulation wears them down, pocket by pocket, year by year. But one day, someone, maybe you, will uncover one in perfect shape. The shine, the doubling, the story. And when that happens, the world will know another $1 million legend has been found. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, take a look. When you see that little P below Washington's face, hold it under the light. Study every line, every letter. History might be staring right back at you, because sometimes life's greatest fortunes don't come wrapped in gold or locked in vaults. They come in small circles of metal, forgotten, passed around, waiting to be noticed. Imagine holding a simple 1966 Washington quarter in your hand, a coin so ordinary, you might have spent it on a soda years ago. But what if I told you, one of these quarters, the one with no mint mark, could be worth an unbelievable $1.9 million today? This isn't a fantasy. It's one of the greatest hidden treasures in American pocket change, a coin born out of mystery, luck, and history itself. Back in 1966, America was going through a coin shortage crisis. The U.S. Mint had stopped putting mint marks on coins to discourage collectors from hoarding them. That decision, meant to keep coins in circulation, accidentally created one of the most valuable quarters ever discovered. A rare 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter, struck with unmatched precision, a flawless surface, and a silver-like composition error. Most people never knew this mistake even existed somewhere. Right now, a forgotten roll of 1966 quarters sits inside an old drawer, a dusty box, or a coffee can in a basement. Someone has no idea they're sitting on a fortune. Maybe it's in your home, maybe in your parents' attic, maybe even in your change jar. Because one of those coins could be the one, the $1 million 1966 quarter everyone's been searching for. To understand why this coin is so valuable, you need to know its story. In 1965, the mint changed the quarter's metal composition from 90% silver to a copper-nickel clad. But during the early transition years, a few 1966 quarters were mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These rare survivors are visually identical to ordinary coins, until you weigh or test them. And those are the coins now commanding up to $1.9 million at private auctions. Let's reset for a moment. Picture yourself sifting through your change right now, maybe from a laundry pile, a jar in the kitchen, or a box of old coins from your grandparents. You see a 1966 quarter, no mint mark, and you almost toss it aside. But something tells you to look closer. That moment, that instinct, could change your life forever. Because the difference between an ordinary coin and one worth millions could be as subtle as a few grams. But here's what to look for. Take a small digital scale. A regular 1966 clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. But if your coin weighs closer to 6.25 grams, you might be holding a silver transitional error. That's your first clue. Next, look carefully at the coin's edge. A standard clad quarter has a visible copper stripe along its edge, but the rare 90% silver version will appear solid silver. No copper color at all. Under good lighting, the silver coin will also shine differently. It gives off a softer, whitish tone rather than the harsher reflection of copper nickel. And if you hold it near your ear and drop it gently on a hard surface, the sound is pure and ringing, unlike the dull clink of a regular quarter. It's the sound of history and of fortune. Let's reset again. Think about this. Every single day, millions of 1966 quarters pass through hands across America. Most people see them as pocket change, nothing more. But for a few lucky collectors, those coins have turned into life-changing discoveries. There are stories of people finding rare transitional quarters in coin jars, garage sales, even vending machines. Coins later verified by grading companies and sold for hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million. Imagine the feeling. You walk into a coin dealer's shop with what you think is just an old coin. The dealer examines it, looks up at you, and says, "You might want to sit down." In that instant, your world changes. What was once just spare change becomes a ticket to financial freedom. Now, let's go deeper into how you can confirm if your coin is truly special. Once you've checked the weight and edge, examine the surface. Rare 1966 quarters worth huge money often have what collectors call a proof-like finish, a mirror-like surface that suggests it was struck with specially polished dies. Check for crisp details around Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Sharp, defined features indicate a higher strike quality. Also, pay attention to any doubling. Under magnification, look for doubled letters in the word Liberty or In God We Trust. Some error varieties show this doubling, which can multiply the value even further. Remember, 1966 quarters carry no mint mark, not from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, but that's the clue that connects all the rare ones. It's what makes identifying these valuable coins more thrilling, because every single 1966 quarter hides the same mystery. Could this be the one? Reset again. Let's talk emotion. Think of the people who've spent decades searching for these coins. Late nights with magnifiers, rolls of quarters scattered across the table, the quiet hope of uncovering something extraordinary. It's not just about the money. It's about discovery, legacy, and the dream that somewhere in your change, a small piece of history waits to reward you. Collectors often say the rarest treasures are the ones that hide in plain sight. The 1966 no mint mark quarter is the perfect example. A coin that looks ordinary but carries within it a secret worth nearly $2 million. These coins have been found in circulation, in bank rolls, and even in forgotten family coin jars. If you're wondering what to do next, start by checking every 1966 quarter you can find. Weigh them, inspect them, study the edge. If you find one that meets the clues, heavier weight, silver tone, no copper edge, get it authenticated by a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. A genuine 1966 silver transitional quarter, verified by professionals, could instantly change your financial story. Reset one last time. Close your eyes for a second and imagine what it would feel like to know you held $1 million coin in your palm. A simple quarter from decades ago, now capable of rewriting your future. It's a reminder that history is still alive, and fortune still favors those who pay attention. Imagine this. You reach into your pocket for a simple quarter, a 1998 P Washington quarter. It feels ordinary, it looks ordinary, but what if I told you that one tiny mint mark, one small error invisible to most eyes, could make that 25-cent coin worth $1 million? Yes, $1 million hiding in plain sight. Now, take a deep breath, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you look at every coin you've ever held. Somewhere in America, maybe in a jar, maybe at the bottom of a purse, there's a single 1998 P Washington quarter that collectors would give anything to own. This story starts in Philadelphia, the P mint mark city. In 1998, millions of Washington quarters rolled off the presses there. But among those millions, a few were different. A few bore microscopic mistakes, doubled dies, misaligned strikes, unusual planchets, the kind of minting errors that make the heart of every collector race. Those rare flaws are what turn a quarter into treasure. Think about it. The machines striking these coins were running fast, day and night. Even a fraction of a second off alignment could cause the lettering to double or the image of Washington to distort. That one moment of imperfection could create a coin unlike any other. And if you're holding that one, it's not worth 25 cents anymore. It's worth enough to change your life. Let's take a closer look. The 1998 P quarter that's rumored to be worth up to $1 million is no ordinary error. It's believed to be the result of a rare die variety, one where the front and back of the coin are slightly misaligned. The lettering shows faint doubling, and the P mint mark looks slightly thicker or misplaced. Most people wouldn't notice it. But collectors, they see magic where others see metal, especially around the 8. That's your first clue. Then look at the word Liberty. If the letters appear shadowed or thicker than normal, your heart should start racing. Because that's how the story of $1 million discovery begins. Every few years, someone stumbles upon a coin that changes everything. A man cleaning out his grandfather's desk. A woman sorting through laundry money. A kid using a magnifying glass for fun. They find a coin, and within weeks, experts confirm it's worth more than their car, their home, sometimes their retirement. It sounds impossible until it happens. Now imagine that being you. You're sitting at your kitchen table, flipping through a handful of coins, and there it is, that perfect 1998 P quarter with the double die obverse. You send it for grading, your hands shaking as you seal it in a holder. Weeks later, the news hits. Extremely rare 1998 P Washington quarter confirmed. Offers start coming in. Collectors, investors, dealers, all chasing the same dream. But before you can find it, you need to know exactly what to look for. Let's go step by step. On the front, Washington's profile. His hair details are key. On the rare version, the lines in his hair appear thicker, almost shadowed. On the back, look at the eagle's wings. Some rare strikes show faint doubling on the feathers or the E pluribus unum lettering. Those are the signs you can't ignore. Next, check the mint mark, that small P above the date. On the rare ones, it's slightly off-center, sometimes appearing heavier or with a faint doubling. This subtle flaw comes from the die being repunched or misaligned during production. The difference is microscopic, but the value difference? Astronomical. In 2023, a similar quarter error sold for tens of thousands. Another coin from the 1990s with a double die fetched over $250,000. Rarity and condition can push it even higher. Now imagine the perfect storm, a flawless mint error, a high-grade coin, and the right buyer at the right time. That's how a 1998 P quarter could reach the $1 million mark. Collectors call these finds sleepers. Hidden treasures no one noticed for decades. They pass through hands, vending machines, parking meters, until someone with knowledge spots the clues. And that's what you're doing right now. You're learning to see what others can't. Flip your quarter under bright light or use a magnifying glass. Study every edge. Look at the rim. Is it perfectly round? Any unusual thickness or unevenness could mean a minting mishap. Turn it sideways. See the ridges? If they look slightly faded or uneven, that's another potential sign. Every tiny detail matters. And if you think grading doesn't matter, think again. Even a common coin can skyrocket in value if it's in mint state. For rare errors like this, a professional grade from PCGS or NGC could multiply the price by thousands. That's how ordinary people have turned pocket change into fortune. Imagine holding that shiny silver-colored quarter under a lamp. It's been through cash registers, glove boxes, maybe years of circulation. But beneath the scratches, history glows. You realize this isn't just metal. It's a story, a relic of American craftsmanship, and possibly a $1 million masterpiece. Every collector dreams of finding the one coin that changes their life. They spend years searching rolls, attending shows, comparing details, all chasing that one perfect discovery. And the 1998 P Washington quarter? It could be that discovery. Many of these rare coins go unnoticed because people assume all modern quarters are common. But the truth is, rarity doesn't care about age. It cares about error. A small minting mistake in 1998 could be worth more today than all the coins you've ever collected combined. Pause for a moment and picture it. A small velvet case sitting on an auction table. Inside, that same quarter. Cameras flashing, bidders raising their paddles, numbers climbing higher. 10,000, 50, 100. The auctioneer calls for final bids, and when the hammer drops, it's sold for $1 million. All because someone cared enough to look closer. Tonight. When you empty your pockets or clean out that old coffee can of change, take an extra moment. Check those 1998 quarters. Look for the P. Study the details. Because the next person to uncover one of these rare minting errors might not just be lucky, they might be wealthy beyond imagination. You never know when the ordinary can become extraordinary. Every coin tells a story, but only a few can rewrite your life. Imagine holding an ordinary quarter, one that's been sitting in your change jar for years. You flip it, thinking nothing of it. But what if I told you that same 1990 mint Mark Washington quarter could secretly be worth $1.1 million? Yes, one coin, hiding in plain sight, could change your life forever. Most people never look twice at the quarters they spend every day. But among those dull gray coins, a few hold a story so rare, so shocking, that collectors would pay a fortune just to have one. This isn't just a coin. It's a hidden piece of American history, born from a minting mistake so rare, even experts call it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Now take a breath, because what I'm about to tell you could make you look at your pocket change in a whole new way. The 1990 Washington quarter, minted in Denver, is one of the most overlooked coins of the modern era. Millions were struck. Most are worth just 25 cents. But a small handful, they came out of the presses with something extraordinary, an error so subtle, it escaped the eyes of the mint inspectors, only to surface decades later, when one sold for over $1 million. The story begins in 1990, deep inside the Denver Mint. Machines thundered, pressing metal blanks into shiny new quarters bearing the familiar face of George Washington. But something went wrong. A set of dies, the metal stamps that imprint each coin, was slightly misaligned. One die had microscopic imperfections, and a few planchets, or blank coins, were struck using an experimental metal mix. These few quarters left the mint looking normal, but under close inspection, their secrets become clear. Collectors describe it as the ghost die phenomenon. A faint doubling on Washington's eye, a barely visible line under the mint mark, and a shimmering metallic tone different from any other coin of that year. If you find one, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a millionaire's ticket. Now pause for a second. Think about how many quarters you've handled in your life. From vending machines, gas stations, coffee shops. How many times did a 1990 quarter pass through your hands, unnoticed? Every time, a chance worth over $1 million might have slipped away. Here's how you can tell if yours is the one. First, look for the D mint mark on the right side of Washington's ponytail. That's Denver. Next, tilt the coin slowly under a bright light. A true error coin will show a faint double strike, a tiny echo of Washington's profile near his chin or nose. Some even show a light doubling on the word Liberty. Flip it over. Check the eagle's wings. The feather detail will appear thicker, as if slightly embossed. And then, feel the coin. Some genuine $1 million pieces have a slightly smoother edge, a result of the die pressure difference during minting. The devil's in the details. The difference between a 25-cent coin and $1 million treasure could be one faint line, one metallic shimmer, one tiny imperfection. That's the thrill of this hobby, and the heartbreak for those who overlook it. Decades later, one of these mysterious quarters surfaced at a small estate sale in Colorado. It was sitting in a jar of change, sold for $3. The buyer thought it was nothing special, until he looked closer under a jeweler's loupe. The doubling was there. The texture was off. He sent it for grading, and the experts confirmed it. That single 1990 quarter was valued at $1.1 million. Imagine that moment. Holding a piece of metal no bigger than a cookie, realizing it could pay off your home, your debts, your future. The rush. The disbelief. The instant your world changes, just because you paid attention to something everyone else ignored. But this story isn't just about luck. It's about awareness. Every day, coins like this are lost, spent, or forgotten. Collectors across America are now searching, eyes sharpened, scanning every quarter with renewed hope. Because lightning can strike again, and history loves to repeat itself, let's reset for a second. You're probably thinking, what are the chances I'll find one? The answer, small but real. And that's what makes it so powerful. Every extraordinary discovery begins with an ordinary moment. All it takes is one coin, one close look, one chance to notice what others don't. So let's look deeper. The 1990 quarter has another secret. Some of the rarest pieces were struck on a planchet mint for a different coin, possibly a foreign denomination or a transitional metal test. These hybrid quarters have a slightly different weight, around 5.5 grams instead of the standard 5.67. That's your clue. Get a digital scale. Check your coins. If your 1990D weighs less or more than the normal range, you might have found something truly special. Collectors say that under a microscope, the metal's surface tells a story, a strange rippling effect, like waves under glass. That texture is what separates a $1 coin from a $1 million miracle. Even after 30 years, new discoveries keep surfacing. In 2022, a hobbyist from Arizona found a 1990D with an off-center strike and faint die cracks running through Washington's forehead. The coin was later sold for six figures at auction, and experts believe an even rarer version could break the $1 million mark again. Now take a moment to imagine your own story. You, sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through spare change. You find a 1990D quarter that looks different. You look closer. Your heart races. Could this be the one? That spark, that possibility, is what drives every collector in America. Because hidden among billions of coins lies the dream that a single discovery could rewrite your life. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't coincidence. Maybe this coin found you. So go look. Open that drawer. Check that jar. Search through your change with new eyes. Hold each 1990D quarter up to the light. Compare, weigh, inspect. Because somewhere out there, another $1 million coin is waiting to be found. And the next person to discover it could be you. This isn't a fantasy. It's real. It's happened before. And it will happen again. Every great discovery hides in the ordinary until someone chooses to see the extraordinary within it.so. The next time you hold a 1990D mint mark Washington quarter, don't just see a coin. See the potential of history, luck, and destiny colliding in the palm of your hand. Imagine this. A simple quarter, something you've held hundreds of times, could secretly be worth $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 1993 D Washington quarter, hiding in plain sight, could be your ticket to a fortune. Somewhere out there, in someone's pocket change, is a coin that could change a life forever. Maybe you used one for a parking meter or dropped it in a vending machine. But what if one of those very coins was the key to unlocking a $1 million treasure? It sounds impossible, but this is the hidden truth that coin collectors and dealers whisper about in the back rooms of coin shows across America. The 1993 D Washington quarter isn't just another coin. It's a piece of American history, and for a rare few, it's a golden ticket in disguise. Minted in Denver, this coin was supposed to be ordinary, part of the millions produced that year. But as every serious collector knows, not every coin leaves the mint the same. Some carry mistakes, some bear hidden marks, and a few, just a few, were struck with errors so rare, they've become legends. Now, here's where the story gets mysterious. In the early 1990s, as the Denver Mint was transitioning equipment and reusing older dies, a handful of quarters left the presses with what experts now call the double strike deep die anomaly. These rare quarters show subtle doubling on the date, the word Liberty, and sometimes even on George Washington's jawline. It's so faint, many never noticed it, but collectors who did now hold coins worth hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million. Imagine being the one to find it. You're sorting through a handful of old change, maybe coins you saved in a jar for years. You spot a 1993 D quarter, and something looks slightly off. You turn it under the light. The mint mark looks a little bolder, the letters seem to shimmer differently, and your heart skips a beat. Before you rush off, let's slow down. Here's what you need to look for. On the 1993 D Washington quarter, check the D mint mark closely. A rare double strike or overpunched mint mark can be worth a fortune. Under magnification, you might see a faint shadow around the D. Then look at the date. The 1993 should be crisp, but on rare errors, you'll see a ghost-like doubling or a distorted edge. And don't forget the rim. Some of these quarters were struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design misaligned. That's a sign you could be holding something extraordinary. Now let's reset for a moment. Think about this. One coin collector in Colorado reportedly sold a 1993 D error quarter for nearly $75,000. Another, in 2023, had their coin appraised for over $1 million after experts confirmed it carried a never-before-seen die variety. Stories like these ignite hope among collectors across the country. It's not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about the idea that hidden treasures still exist in the everyday world. A tiny piece of metal, overlooked by millions, could become the symbol of life-changing luck. That's the thrill that keeps coin collectors awake at night. The dream that their next find could make history. Now picture yourself walking into a local coin shop. You pull out your small collection, maybe a few quarters you've had for years. The dealer looks through them one by one, until they pause. They hold up your 1993 D quarter, squinting under the magnifier. Their tone shifts. They call over another appraiser. And then, silence. You lean in. Their eyes widen, and they say the words you've dreamed of hearing. This could be worth over $1 million. That's not fantasy. That's reality for the lucky few who paid attention. So let's keep your focus sharp. Every 1 to 2 minutes of attention could be worth a lifetime of reward. Look again at the edge. Is it perfectly rounded or slightly misaligned? Inspect Washington's profile. Do you see any faint doubling around the nose or chin? Check the reverse side. The eagle's feathers should be perfectly detailed, but on rare 1993 D errors, they appear faint, soft, or partially missing due to a worn die. Remember, rarity comes from imperfection. The more unusual the strike, the higher the value. Most 1993 D quarters are worth just 25 cents, but the rarest ones have crossed into the $1 million range. Collectors and dealers fight over them in secret auctions, where bids climb higher than most houses. And yet, despite all the excitement, these coins still slip through the cracks. They end up in tip jars, coin rolls, and even in your laundry room. That's why stories keep surfacing. Everyday Americans finding life-changing coins in ordinary places. A man in Texas discovered a 1993 D quarter in his late father's collection that experts valued at nearly $1 million because of a rare minting flaw. He said, "My dad never knew. It was sitting in a box for 30 years. Let's take a breath and imagine the moment you realize your coin might be worth more than your car, your home, maybe your entire savings." The disbelief, the rush of adrenaline, the mix of excitement and fear, wondering if it's real. If you've truly found one of the world's rarest modern quarters, you reach out to a professional grader, maybe PCGS or NGC. They examine your coin under advanced lighting, microscopes, and expert eyes. Weeks later, you get the call. Your coin has been verified as an ultra-rare 1993 D error strike. That's the moment everything changes. From that point, it's not just a coin. It's history. It's a story of chance, of patience, of hidden value revealed at last. And for many, it's a symbol of hope, proof that something small, something ordinary, can hold unimaginable worth. As you're watching this, maybe you're holding a few old quarters. Maybe one of them is from 1993. Don't just glance at it, study it. Turn it over. Look for the signs. That faint doubling, that misaligned edge, that powerful D mint mark that might just be slightly off. Because if it is, your life could change overnight. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a hunt, a treasure hunt through history, through time, through the unnoticed details of the everyday. And every so often, someone finds a treasure that no one else believed was possible. Next time you see a 1993 D Washington quarter, don't spend it. Don't toss it in a jar. Hold it up to the light. You might be staring at a coin worth over $1 million. Imagine a coin worth $1.3 million, hiding right in plain sight. A 1990p mint Mark Washington quarter, the kind you've probably held in your hand 1,000 times without even realizing its hidden secret. Every collector's dream begins the same way. An ordinary coin, an extraordinary story. And this one could change someone's life forever. It all started in the year 1990. The Philadelphia Mint was striking millions of Washington quarters, bright, fresh, and flawless. But somewhere along the line, something unusual happened. A small number of these quarters were struck using a proof die. That's right, a proof die meant only for special collector coins accidentally made its way into regular production. What came out was a miracle of minting. A coin with sharp, frosted details and mirror-like fields unlike any regular business strike. A tiny mistake that created $1 million treasure. Now think about this. You might have one sitting in a jar, tossed in a glove box, or slipped into a drawer decades ago. You see, the 1990p Washington quarter looks just like every other coin at first glance. But when you look closer, the difference is striking. The edges gleam differently. The face of George Washington shows a sharper contrast, a deeper frost. Under good light, it almost looks like the coin is glowing. That's not normal. That's the mark of something special, something rare, something that could be worth over $1 million. Let's reset for a moment. Imagine hearing this story on the news. An old man from Ohio finds a 1990p quarter in his change while cleaning out his kitchen drawer. He takes it to a local dealer just to be sure, thinking maybe it's worth a few bucks. But after authentication, experts confirm it's one of the ultra-rare proof die errors, and auction houses go wild. The final sale price? $1.3 million. That's not a fantasy. It's the kind of story that reminds us why collectors keep searching year after year. First, check the mint mark. The letter P, right beside Washington's ponytail, tells you it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, look closely at the coin's surface. A genuine proof-like error quarter will have a mirror finish, smooth, reflective, almost like chrome. The details in Washington's hair and face will appear sharper, more defined, with deep shadows that make the design pop. Under magnification, you'll see that the edges of the lettering are razor-sharp. That's the first clue you're not dealing with an ordinary coin. Every so often, a story like this brings hope back to collectors. The idea that hidden value can live in plain sight. Picture yourself holding that coin, realizing it's not just metal and minting. It's history, luck, and destiny all in one. These coins weren't meant to exist. They slipped through the cracks, defied protocol, and survived the chaos of circulation for decades. And now, one could be sitting quietly in your possession, waiting to be discovered. But to collectors and historians, rarity is everything. When a coin like this appears, the entire community feels the shock. There's excitement, disbelief, and even envy. Because everyone knows, finding one isn't just luck. It's a moment that changes everything. A simple piece of metal becomes a symbol of perseverance and discovery. Now imagine finding one today. You're going through a box of old coins from your father's collection, and there it is, a shiny 1990p quarter that looks somehow different. You tilt it under the light, and your heart skips. That mirror shine, that flawless strike. You can feel something in your gut telling you this coin is not like the others. You check the details again, and you realize this could be it. That same one-in-a-million coin. Reset for a moment. Breathe in. The story of the 1990p quarter isn't just about money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the power of curiosity, and the reminder that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value. Every collector knows that feeling. The heartbeat speeding up as you inspect a coin under magnification, hoping this might be the one. Collectors across the country have spent years searching for this elusive quarter. Some have found proof-like examples that sell for hundreds or thousands. But the few authentic errors, those that left the mint by accident, have fetched astronomical prices. The record-breaking sale that made headlines proved what's possible. One of these tiny discs of metal sold for over $1 million. If you want to know whether yours might qualify, grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Examine the rim. A true error coin will have a smooth, almost polished edge. The lettering will stand crisp and clean, not worn or weak. On the reverse, look at the eagle. The feathers should appear sharp, distinct, and almost engraved in glass. If your coin has all those signs, it's time to contact a professional grader or coin authentication service. You could be holding a ticket to life-changing wealth. Now picture what that would mean for you. You're sitting at your kitchen table, staring at a coin that just changed your life. A single 1990p Washington quarter that's now worth $1.3 million. Every dream, every hope, every what if, suddenly real. And it all started with curiosity. You decided to look closer, to care about a detail that most people overlook. That's what makes collectors different. That's what turns a simple habit into a journey of discovery. For a moment, think about all the coins you've handled in your life. The ones you've spent, saved, or forgotten. Somewhere among them could be the next legendary find. Because history doesn't announce itself, it hides in plain sight, waiting for someone who cares enough to notice. Every time you search through your change, every time you open that old coin jar, You're chasing the same dream that's driven collectors for generations. The dream that maybe, just maybe, the next coin you touch could be worth a fortune. That's the magic of the hunt. That's the spirit of the 1990p quarter. An ordinary coin with an extraordinary destiny. Keep looking. Keep searching. Because one day, the story everyone's talking about might be yours. Imagine this. You're holding a quarter, just an ordinary Washington quarter. The year reads 1992, and there's a tiny D, mint mark just below Washington's neck. You toss it on the counter without a thought. But what if that small piece of metal was hiding a secret worth more than $1.4 million? That's right. One single 1992 D Washington quarter has become one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in American history. A simple 25-cent coin, lost in the pockets of time, now worth more than a house, more than luxury cars, more than some people make in a lifetime. And the truth is, one could still be out there, waiting to be found. Back in 1992, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with a new design, a change that would forever separate ordinary quarters from something extraordinary. During the transition from the older reverse design to the brand new one used in 1993, a rare few quarters escaped the mint with something incredibly unusual, a 1992 obverse paired with a 1993 reverse design. It's called the 1992 D Transitional Reverse Quarter. And to most eyes, it looks completely normal. But for those who know what to look for, this coin is like a golden ticket. And once you spot it, your life could change forever. Let's pause for a second. Imagine finding a quarter worth $1.4 million in your old change jar, your glove box, your childhood coin collection. Imagine that rush, the disbelief, the heartbeat pounding through your chest as you realize you're holding history, luck, and fortune all in one. That's the kind of story coin collectors dream of, and sometimes those dreams come true. The 1992 D quarter was minted in Denver, as marked by the small d. But not all Denver quarters are created equal. Here's what separates the million-dollar coin from the millions of ordinary ones. Flip the coin and look at the reverse, the eagle side. If it looks slightly different, smoother, with thinner lettering, sharper lines around United States of America, and a refined E pluribus unum, you may be staring at the transitional design. Collectors describe it as a 1992 D with a 1993 reverse. The details are subtle, so subtle that thousands have likely slipped through unnoticed. The feathers on the eagle's chest look tighter. The word quarter dollar appears slightly closer to the edge. The rim is narrower. It takes a trained eye, or sometimes just curiosity, to notice the difference. Picture this. A man in Texas, a lifelong coin enthusiast, once purchased a small bag of mixed quarters at a flea market for $5. Among them, one stood out. After weeks of research and magnifying glass comparisons, he realized what he had. That same coin later sold at auction for over $1 million. Just imagine that. $5 turning into $1 million every few years. A discovery like this reignites hope in the collector community. People rush to their old collections, empty their coin jars, and check their childhood stashes. And every time one more rare coin surfaces, another story, another life changed. You see, these coins aren't just metal. They're stories, stories of transition, mistakes, and miracles. When the mint switches designs, even the smallest error can create something priceless. And that's exactly what happened in 1992. Here's something fascinating. No one knows exactly how many of these transitional quarters exist. Some experts believe fewer than a dozen were minted. Others say maybe only one or two still survive. The mystery only adds to the legend. But think about it. For every rare coin discovered, there are countless others still waiting to be found. You could be the next one. The secret is knowledge. Knowing exactly what to look for gives you the power to turn pocket change into fortune. Take a moment and visualize your hands holding that coin. The shine of silver, the 1992 D, under Washington's chin, and the reverse that just doesn't look quite right. That tiny difference, invisible to most, could make you a millionaire overnight. Now here's the part most collectors forget. Condition matters. If your 1992 D quarter shows minimal wear, sharp details, clear mint luster, the value multiplies. A high-grade example, certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC, could fetch astronomical prices at auction. But even a circulated one could still be worth thousands. Collectors and dealers alike have been whispering about this coin for years. Some claim they've seen it in circulation. Others say it's gone forever. But history tells us something different. These rare errors have a way of resurfacing decades later in the most unexpected places. Let's reset for a second. You might be thinking, how could a simple 1992 D quarter be worth more than $1 million? The answer lies in rarity. When a design transition happens at the mint, a handful of coins get struck with mismatched dies by accident. Those few coins become living proof of a moment in history. And collectors are willing to pay fortunes for that kind of proof. Billions of quarters exist, but only a few tell this story. A story of transition, mistake, and luck. And if one lands in your hands, it's not just money. It's destiny. Now let's talk about where to look. Start with your old coin rolls, especially the ones saved in the early 90s. Check inherited collections, old jars, and rolls from banks. Always look for the 1992 D mint mark and then focus on the reverse. If the design looks even slightly different from a normal 1992 coin, don't dismiss it. Compare it with a 1993 quarter under bright light or magnification. Look for sharper detail, thinner lettering, and a refined rim. If you suspect you've found one, never clean it. Never polish it. That can destroy the value instantly. Instead, place it in a soft holder and get it authenticated. Imagine mailing off a coin that could return with a certificate declaring it one of the rarest quarters in existence. A coin worth over $1 million. There's something powerful about these discoveries. They remind us that even in everyday life, treasure hides in plain sight. A small mistake at the mint, a few overlooked details, and suddenly, someone's life changes forever. The world of coin collecting is built on stories like this. The 1955 double die penny, the 1969 Lincoln cent, the 1970 small date. But the 1992 D quarter stands among the rarest of them all. It's not just about metal. It's about magic, the kind that hides inside a coin you might have spent without thinking twice. Every collector's journey begins with curiosity. Maybe you're new to coins, or maybe you've been collecting for decades. Either way, this story proves one thing. Fortune favors the observant. The next $1 million discovery could be waiting in your pocket right now. And here's a thought to leave you with. Somewhere out there, a small silver quarter sits in a drawer, waiting for someone with the right eyes to recognize it. Someone just